although they have access to you, they know you from all perspectives, right? You can still fend yourself off in a couple of ways, but it has to start now. Otherwise, I promise you, you're going to live in a reality that's just pure illusion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to see you again. As you can see, we've made some changes. All right, different background, different clothes, same people, better content. Welcome to Lesson 2 of Society Reformed.
Look, social media has brought more people together than probably anything else besides music. And probably religion, right? But for me, for instance, social media has taken a toll on my mental health, and I'm sure it has for many of you. So it's good to take a social media break every once in a while. Delete it for 1 or 2 weeks, and your life almost changes. Because you go look at your screen time. How much time are you spending on social media when you could be doing something productive? When you could be doing something worthwhile? Right? But sometimes it's super easy to get caught up in just scrolling away. You scroll and you scroll and you scroll for literally hours. You could be doing something productive. You can be with your family. You can be learning a new skill. You can be building better habits. You can be meeting new people in real life. You can be reading. There are a plethora of things that you can be doing than being on social media, right? But there's also the good side of it. There's this social aspect to it, for sure. When you're in high school, I mean, everybody has Instagram, everybody has a Snapchat. I mean, that's just how the world is now, and it's developed into this thing that's almost toxic, though. So you have to be aware to make sure that your feelings are not caught up in the world of social media. You have to look at it from an outside perspective, right? It's easy to get consumed. But for me, social media has definitely changed the way I look at people. It's made me look at people superficially, which is not always good. It's not really good at all. But that's what social media does. Like what Alex said. He said it's this millisecond in somebody's life, and it's this beautiful thing in their life. It's the happy moment in life. But that's not what their life truly is. You can't compare your life to somebody else's life. This is one of my favorite quotes ever. Comparison is the thief of joy. Right? When you compare your life to somebody else's, it's you cannot do that because your life is so unique in the sense that nobody has had the same struggles as you. Right? Nobody has the same family. Nobody has the same experiences as you. Nobody thinks the way that you do. So comparing yourself to others is very, very harmful to your mental health and your physical health. And that's what social media is. Basically, it's just like this persona you put online to try and impress people who don't care about you. It's pretty crazy. So Alex, I have a question for you, right?
Yeah, let me hear it.
What is your favorite and least favorite social media platform?
Both favorite and least favorite would probably have to be, I would say my favorite is YouTube, and my least favorite is probably Instagram or Snapchat. All right, YouTube is such an amazing gift if utilized in the proper way. So many people go on YouTube, and there's nothing wrong with this, right? Because YouTube is there, it's entertainment, but it's also education too. You can go on YouTube and you can learn anything you want with a few click of buttons, right? And that's what's so amazing about it. You have all these resources at your hand, literally in your cell phone, and you can literally learn. This whole podcast started from me searching up a YouTube video. That's so crazy to think about, right? And now we're posting content on YouTube too right now.
Yeah.
But the downside of it is that you can get trapped up and just finding yourself in a consuming phase when all you do is consume. And it's kind of like you're holding yourself back with the illusion that you're stepping forward. All right, so it's a gift and a curse at the same time. But I'm going to Instagram and Snapchat. All right, those two are both super popular, especially among kids our age, right? But what I find that's like the worst part about it is that it's all temporary. Okay, snaps delete in 24 hours, unless saved. But for the most part, you're not going to remember someone's snap from a day ago. And the point I'm trying to get is that you're wasting your time just sending pictures, meaningless pictures back and forth. Because if you know me, like, you know, I don't like really respond or reply to anyone on Snapchat, all right? And it's not, you know, there's the phrase like answer your snaps, you're not famous. It's not that. It's literally just because I don't see the reason why to be sending pictures of like my ceiling or my face or things like that. Like, it's not doing anything for me. It's not doing anything for the other person. All right, a good conversation can be had on Snapchat, right? I'm not doubting that. But I'm saying the majority of people that use Snapchat are using it for the wrong reasons. The whole point of telecommunication is instant responses, right? But is communication, like talking to one another. People don't understand that if you waste your time, you are literally burning away seconds of your life doing nothing, which is so like invigorating to see from someone who's like had that click already in their mentality, right? You have to understand that this life is so I preach this a lot because it's something super big on me, but this life is like literally your only opportunity to make it in this world. All right, you either do or you don't. You either take action or you stay back. All right, it's one of the two things. And these young ages are such a prime time for making those steps, for taking that action. And a lot of people are just wasting it, getting caught up in social media, trying to impress their followers on these platforms that don't matter. Listen, a lot of these people are going to disconnect with you after, you know, you leave high school, you leave college. A lot of it disbands, right? And a lot of it's just like an illusion that you have to put on this persona, like Roger said. You have to put on this person for these followers who you have. And the reality is that no one really cares about you as much as they do. And that sounds really harsh to say, right? But think about it. Whose Instagram post are you thinking about right now? Exactly. Most likely nobody's, right? Because it doesn't matter. The whole point is that it doesn't matter. It's an illusion put upon you by these big corporations to think that it matters, but it doesn't matter. All right, I can snap somebody a picture of my face right now, and it doesn't matter because they'll forget about it in a week, in a day, in the next hour. The whole point I'm trying to make is that you're not benefiting yourself by doing any of this, all right? A lot of this podcast is about improvement, right? Reformed, to do again, all right? Most likely, there's a position that you want to get out of, and you get a second chance at it, right? But you have to understand that these platforms are kind of made against you. Their algorithms are made so that they keep you on the platform for as long as possible, and for as many hours in a day they can take from you and give to them. TikTok's algorithm is ordered in such a way where that it literally looks at your keystrokes, your videos you watched, everything, and it analyzes it to a T, and it spews videos like that, so it can keep you on the platform, keep that reoccurring basis. That's why like a lot of videos you see, there was a study done that the first video you post on TikTok will have a like 60 or something. I don't want to say like a random fact, but it has a greater % chance of going viral to give you that dopamine hit. So you keep on posting videos over and over again to receive that same feeling, because likes and validation online it's a good feeling. Like, you can't deny that, but it doesn't matter, because really at the end of the day, you're going to sleep by yourself. Really, like your followers aren't there to support you when you're really in your darkest times. Because people can comment all they want on your post, but in reality, who's actually there for you? That's all I gotta say.
Has social media benefited society or negatively affected society? What do you think?
Social media has done both good and bad for society. And it's done good because you have people with amazing platforms who spread positive messages, and people need that. People need someone to go to, right? But it's also bad because you have all these people who hide behind their keyboards and they just spew negativity out. So the forces kind of counteract each other, right? The truth behind social media is that it is what we make out of it. We can have the best environment online if people made it that way. Same goes the opposite way. It can be the most toxic thing ever, but it's only that if people make it that way. So really, it's who you surround yourself with on social media. I'm not saying social media is a bad thing. It's just that many people use it in the wrong way. That's where they're getting bad experiences out of it. That's how I was. That's how I know all this stuff, right? For the longest time, I was just using it in the wrong way. I was approaching it from the wrong angle. When I made that switch, my perspective changed, right? That's why I decided I'm not going to use this app anymore, because I realized I was spending all this time on it and I had made nothing. I was literally damaging myself, thinking that I was, like scroll. I think I was entertaining myself, but in reality, I was just wasting my time. And when I look back at it, it's hundreds of hours, literally hundreds of hours that I've just wasted scrolling on my phone. And I can't even remember, to this day, I don't remember what I was looking at. And that's the point I'm trying to get at. You don't remember a lot of it. And literally, what was the last 5 TikTok videos you've watched? Because I can't name them.
Let's do some math, right? So let's say you're on Instagram or any social media platform for 5 hours a day. Every day for 1 week. That's 35 hours in 1 week. Times 4, what's that? 140 something? 150?
Something like that.
You're wasting 150 hours a month on something that does not benefit you, right? Of course, there are positive aspects, right? Of course, there's this the social aspect of being on social media, which is very validating. But just think about it. Like, let's say if you were to cut that in half, right? So you're only doing 2.5 hours a day, right? That's 75 hours. That is a lot of time, right? Most of us cannot even pay attention for 5 minutes, right? So our attention spans are being cut in half, right? Probably more than cut in half. Our attention spans are so low. It's absolutely insane. Just the TikTok, this short-term content has taken over the internet, right? Just think about clips, right? You find a clip of a president saying something outlandish that's taken out of context and then pushed through the mass media, and now there's this new perspective, this new thing that these people are saying about this president that's been completely taken out of context. Right? So nobody cares about the context anymore. Nobody cares about listening to what somebody truly has to say. They only look at a clip and they base their whole opinion, they base their reality towards that person just on that.
Yeah, I really like that. I want to go back to what he said about attention span, right? It is something that has slipped the minds of so many people. Your attention span over the years, I guarantee it has just gone down this like that this downward spiral, right? And it's due to this short form content, like what is it called, like wave. And the whole reason for that is that you get instant dopamine like that, and the more dopamine you get, the more likely you are to stay on the app, like I said before. So it's an evil strategy by these companies because they're hurting you and you don't even realize it. And the more you use these apps, the more information they get about you. And the more information they get about you, the more they can use it to manipulate you and how you work, right? They understand how you are. This is why AI can be such a dangerous thing, because not only once it's integrated with these platforms, it'll learn how to use your pleasures against you. And that is a scary thing to think about. Think about it. All right, let's talk about AI with this whole integration thing for a second here.
Okay, all right, so let me ask you a question about this, right?
Yeah.
So what role is AI going to play in the world of social media?
AI can play a very powerful role in social media. I see AI in the next coming years being a leading factor in the content you see.
Okay.
We've seen it on TikTok, or at least I've seen it on TikTok, but there's already AI generated content, right? And AI has only become a recently popular thing in the past year. I think you're going to say something.
Yeah, that AI generated content is absolutely insane. It's very bizarre. It's very accurate. My dad, right? Shout out to my dad. He showed me a picture of a president getting arrested that looked so real, and I truly believed it at first, and he truly believed it at first, right? So this whole AI generated pictures these pictures are absolutely bonkers. They are bonkers. They're so realistic. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're only gonna get better. What you guys are seeing now, every day, the AI is improving. So what you see now is probably the worst AI is ever gonna be ever, right? Because from here on out, it's only gonna improve. And what's scary about that is that the more that it improves, the more likely you are to believe what it has, what it's like pushing onto you, right? Think about this. Think about a world where you can't even tell if content was made by a human or an AI. Like, that is scary. You already have pictures that are made by AI. You have videos that are made by AI. And you have sounds that can be replicated by AI. Combine all those together, and you literally have someone that can produce content, and it's not even a human.
Yeah, what's really interesting is that Elon Musk was warning us to be very careful.
He was.
About how we approach AI technology. around what, like 2014? It's probably earlier than that. Don't
He
quote
actually
me on
said
that.
very recently that we need to slow down. 'Cause
Yes, and
we're going too fast.
It's like this AI thing it's new, right? It's kind of like how the internet was new in the early 2000s after like magazines and stuff like that. Like this whole new thing, right? That's what we're seeing with AI, I think.
Yeah. So AI is going to be adopted heavily by these big name corporations, and they're going to use it by studying your user tendencies, right? They're going to see what you like. They're going to see at what times do you interact with certain things. They're going to study that over a period of time. They're going to turn it around and they're going to push it up against you so that they make more money, you consume more content you like, and overall, you're the one that's getting... Listen, if something is free, you are the product. So they're going to make this thing heavily accessible so that you have the most access to it, so that they have the most information. Is it clicking now? Like, do you see?
Wow. If something is free, then you're the product. I love that.
It's true.
That's really great.
And it's really scary too, because you guys, a lot of people don't understand the agenda of these companies, right? But it's a big game. It's a big game to them. Like to them, us, we're nothing but a statistic and a revenue source, right? They don't care about our well-being. They just care about how much money they make off of us. So in order to negate that, we have to understand how they're moving forward. Listen, great leaders, great CEOs, they're already 5-10 steps ahead of the average person. Right? A chess grandmaster, I think on average, is like 13 steps ahead of his opponent, which is like crazy. Right? But that's how they think. Yeah. That's how these big corporations think. So they're thinking in advance, right? A lot of us are probably only thinking in a day-to-day basis, right? Present tense. We need to be thinking for the future. Be a visionary. Think about your future. How is so-and-so going to be 5-10 years from now? And how is it going to affect me? How can I use this to my advantage? And how can I make the most out of that opportunity? AI is such a good thing if used properly, right? Because there's so much money to be made, so much good things to come out of it. But again, if it's in the wrong hands, you're going to get negative outcomes, which is why I feel like, and plus, there's a lot of evil people in this world, right? And a lot of evil people have a lot of big power. So you can see how the two, they go hand in hand, but it's a dark handshake, right? So you want to get away from that as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, if you use AI for the right reasons, right, it should be used as a tool, right? I think it could help the human race. Personally, I think it could help the human race advance, technologically speaking. Yeah, there is such a good benefit. I'm going to show you right now. AI can be used to completely reform the modern education system. Because if you think about it, right now, you sit in a classroom and you have one teacher, right? Maybe a couple more, right? But you have one teacher for the most part, majority of the time. But that one teacher is teaching you based off of how they teach. And AI can teach you off of how you learn, because it'll know how you learn. It'll teach you the best way to effectively get across this information so that you retain it for the longest period of time. It can properly nourish your educational needs while sustaining you for the long run, right? That is something that school has failed to do for the longest time. But with this integration, that can change. And not only will it change, it'll literally be permanent, right? It's going to stay there. And the good thing about AI is that it's customizable. So if you don't like something, you can flip it off. You can change it, right? With the teachers are kind of stubborn. They're not willing to change. But with an AI, you can get literally how you want to learn, when you want to learn, and the exact format you want to learn at, right? The exact pace. So that's the beauty of it. Like I'm telling you, it's a double-edged sword. You get the beauty and you get the bad. So it just depends on really how you approach it, because it's such an amazing idea when put on paper. But again, when you push it onto the world, especially the world that we live in, you can see how the outcomes can differ in so many different ways. Yeah. Do you know when this AI will be integrated into the school system?
So I do not know that, right? No one has a crystal ball and no one is an oracle. But I can tell you this. ARK Invest released a PDF. They release one every year. It's their big ideas. If you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. Big ideas. This was in their 2022 report. And they suggest that AI by 2030 should be 10x its market cap, which right now is like 10 trillion. By 2030 should be like 103 trillion, right?
What?
But that's just giving you an idea of how big it's going to be in the future. So AI is going to take a huge impact on the world in the upcoming future. It's already overtaking the world right now, right? Everything is AI this, AI that. But can you imagine once it gets once it gets adopted by everybody, by these companies, your life's gonna change. Okay, there's no denying that. There's no denying once AI hit the world, life changed. Okay, whether you realize it or not, your life changed once AI hit the world. And whether it affects you now or whether it's gonna affect you later, it's going to happen soon, right? And here's how you need to prepare. You need to understand that AI is only a tool, but it's as dangerous as it is effective. So again, I go back on saying this. Protect yourself, educate yourself, but also know how to use it to your own good.
All right, so since AI is going to take over the business world, it's going to take over the social media world, what other worlds is it going to take over?
This is a very good question. One thing that people kind of, I guess, push back to the side is it's going to take over the relationship world and the romantic side of things. And this, people, I bet you some eyebrows are raised right now, right? Because you're like, what the? But let me just, hear me out. Like I said before, AI is adaptive. It learns, it understands, and it pushes out. Think about this. Like I said, AI is going to get to a point where it's indifferable between if it's a human or an AI. When you pair that with someone's urges and someone's drive, and you have this entity that knows you best, knows your tendencies, knows your habits, and knows you pretty much like you know yourself, and it talks to you how you want, it behaves the way you want, and it speaks to you in such a way where it gives you more dopamine, that's a dangerous tool. You can see how people can fall into that trap. And you can go into like the whole metaverse thing with this, and a lot of people don't believe in that, but that's a whole different video. But for now, we're going to stay on topic. But
Absolutely.
Again, watch out, because AI is coming for you. And it's super scary, but just please protect yourself, because I guarantee you, come back to this video in 4 or 5 years, you'll see that I'm right.
Yeah, it's like that saying, you better protect yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, there is this movie directed by... We'll cut this out. I forgot who the director was. We're not going to cut it out. We're going to leave it in. We're going to leave it in.
Keep it raw.
It's called Her, right?
Her,
The main actor is Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
Right, the Joker.
Yep.
Okay. And it's called Her, right? So this guy, the whole... I'm going to spoil the movie, right? So the whole plot of the movie, this guy gets divorced with his girlfriend, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Right? He's lonely, right? So then his friend introduces him to an AI girl. I do not remember what her name was, but it was really interesting because this girl, it was like Cassandra or something like that, right? But this girl was not real.
Yeah.
It's like what you're saying about this whole AI thing. It's like she knows exactly what he likes. She knows how to start the conversations, talk about what he likes. She knows how to comfort him, right? She has conscience, and she's only an AI. So this AI it's his girlfriend, right? So we already saw this in a movie, right? But this movie is going to become reality pretty soon, I think. It's very interesting, very, 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 very interesting, this AI thing.
Yeah, and I wanna add a couple more things, because as you were saying that, I gathered a bit more thoughts, right? AI is gonna come into the physical world. Like, I'm talking literal robots.
2049.
2049. Yeah, it's
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's I just remember. It's going to come, and I'm not sure the exact year, but it is going to come soon. And people always say like that's not possible. Once AI is integrated with robots, that's literally a humanoid being powered by AI in the physical world, which means that you can interact with it, you can touch it, you can punch it, you can tackle it, it can tackle you. See, so once AI enters the physical world, then life really starts to take a shift, because now your jobs are in danger. Now the marketplace shifts. Now people's lives are literally flipped 180, because all of a sudden their value as a worker goes down, because they have this cheap alternative who can do it faster, who can do it better, who can do it more effectively, who can do it perfect 100% of the time, and they don't even need to be paid.
Wow.
Think about that. Most of these people listening to this podcast right now most likely aren't working a job, but for those of you who are, I want to ask yourself this question. How replaceable are you? And not even in terms of, is there someone that can do it better? Is your position endangered of being overtaken by a computer, by an AI, by someone who can do it better than you, cheaper than you, faster than you, and will not complain when they don't get their paycheck. How valuable are you to your company?
I would say if you're in that position, you're going to have to work hard and be your best version of yourself that you can be in your work area. You know, so there's this idea, like there's this fear of AI taking over certain jobs, right? But I believe that if you're truly good at your job, right, you're the best of the best, then you have nothing to worry about. All right? So just do what you need to do always. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
That's all I have to.
In order to be in AI, you have to have originality, creativity, and you have to stay true to yourself. This is why being yourself is so important, especially as we continue on to the future, right? Because everyone just wants to be a copy of what they see online. Everyone sees a model of that succeeds, right? And they want to copy that one-to-one. Listen, there is nothing wrong with doing something new. There's nothing wrong with paving your own path, because that path that you're following has already been carved, right? So you know that it works, yeah, but everyone else sees that too, and they're all following the same path as you.
To quote Tristan Tate, he said, if you walk into a building with 100 millionaires, they're all going to tell you a different thing that they did to make $1 million, right? Elon Musk built freaking starships, okay? Jeff Bezos sold books, okay? Bill Gates built computers. All right, every millionaire that you're ever going to meet made their $1 million a different way. All right, so what he is saying is carve your own path, right? There's not one way to make $1 million. There's probably thousands.
Maybe 1 million.
There's probably 1 million different ways to make $1 million different dollars.
Oh, that's crazy. That is, listen, there's probably 1 million ways to make $1. That, like, think about it that way, right? Everyone has their own story for a reason. A lot of these people who came up from the ground probably came up on their own path, right? Maybe there's a few outliers that followed something, right? But the essence of the story is that you don't want to be caught up following someone who's already made their pact on the world, right? You don't want to be someone who is a copy of another person. There is only one you for a reason, and that is to tell your own story. Nobody wants to hear the story of somebody who's already succeeded. They want to hear how you succeeded and how you did it by yourself. Now, Roger, I've been talking a lot, but I want to direct it towards you a little bit.
I appreciate that, man.
You're welcome.
I really do.
Now, I want to ask you, we've covered dating, we've covered business, we've covered school. Are there any other aspects in your life that we haven't mentioned that you feel can completely change with this new technology moving forward?
Ooh, I would say... It's a hard question, man. Because that's everything.
It is everything. How about this? How many sports do you play?
I don't play sports.
Let me ask you this then. What do you do for fun?
What I do for fun, I work.
Work.
That's what I do. I have to work. That's what I
How
do for
effective
fun.
is your working?
I would say it could be a lot better.
How will you use AI to make yourself 10 times, 100 times better than how you are today?
I would ask it questions about how to do my work more efficiently and how to improve my time more efficiently, right? So let's say I ask ChatGPT, I'm like, okay, what's the best routine for me? What's the best study hacks? Okay, that's work. Studying is work. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT to give me a few study hacks, and then he gives me a few study hacks. That's how we can help.
I want to take that a little bit further, right? Let's take what you said and let's level it up a little bit.
Ooh.
All right, you said, give me a few study hacks. How about this? Give me a study schedule from Monday to Friday with these amount of hours, with this amount of time allocated to it, to where I dedicate my time to these certain subjects that will allow me to gain this information in the most effective manner. Listen, in order to properly use AI, you have to properly know how to use AI, right? Give it good prompts. Creativity is going to carry you so far in this world, right? Everyone says AI is the death of creativity. Wrong. AI is it's the nitro to creativity, right? You can become so creative now with how you use AI in your life. It's crazy.
If you use it effectively, of course.
If you use it effectively. And
don't use it like me. I was just gonna ask it a simple question, right? Just give me some study hacks, right? But the way that Alex just gave it to you, he gave it to you real and raw. All right? He gave it to you step by step. You have to ask it very detailed questions because it's capable of answering such questions, right?
And AI
best answers too. They're not just bad answers like if you ask one of your homies or something, right? It's like it's this model of technology that's been given thousands, probably millions of answers already, or like the codes and the language that it's given, right? So it knows the best possible answer to give to each question that it's asked.
Yeah, and remember, AI is always collecting data. So it's understanding how its user thinks. And that way it's able to properly spit out the answer that is most effective towards you, right? Again, the prompt for current AI right now, it's ChatGPT, right? Maybe some other things, right? But it's the prompt, right? What you give the AI is what you're going to get out. What you give is what you get out.
Yeah.
Give it something good. Be creative in your things. Don't just ask it, write me a poem and, for school, right? Ask it something more. Elevate your usage of AI.
Ooh.
If you really want to make the most out of it, make the most out of what you're putting into it. Okay? Don't use AI like a bum. All right?
Yeah,
a lot of people use AI for the stupidest reasons. And, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to, you can make money off of AI. People don't know that there are literal YouTube channels out there that are completely AI generated. Right? The creator of the channel makes the AI from an AI generated name, AI generated content, and AI generated scripts. It is literally crazy because they're profitable too. And so I'm telling you this right now because the opportunity is at hand and a lot of people are taking advantage of it, but a lot of people are also leaving it to the side because they don't fully respect AI and its potential. AI is a beautiful thing. It just goes back again. You have to know how to use it, right? AI is almost the future of the world.
Yeah, it's like the way I would characterize AI is if the dictionary and all the data of the internet and the history of the internet had a baby.
Yeah.
Right? It's very intelligent. It's probably the smartest thing ever.
AI is Google's competitor. I want you to think about that. AI is Google's competitor. You have Google trying to spew out their version of AI, and they tried to, but they didn't model it in like how ChatGPT did. That's why Google's AR, which is I think it's called Palm or Bard, one of those two, but it failed, right? It wasn't as good. It started going back on the user. It started getting mad at the user. It started saying that. It started becoming self-aware, which was scary for the people because it would ask the AI a question and it would start saying, "You've been a bad human. I'm a good AI. I'm not answering you anymore."
That's crazy.
You can look this up. Search up Google AI gone wrong, something like that. You'll see the stories. It's actually crazy, right? So AI, in that sense, right? Once AI becomes self-aware, we're all doomed, right? That's just game over. I'm going to sleep. I'm not waking up. But for now, right? Once AI is civil, we have to take AI from a very safe approach because it can get out of hand very fast. And once that happens, it's like a wildfire. And it's just going to spread. And all of a sudden has access to all your files on your computer, all your contacts information, all your passwords, and knows all your passwords. You're done, right? You're not competing against an AI because it can outsmart you like that. But again, we have to approach it from a sensible perspective and a logical angle. Okay, if we do that and if we approach it carefully, tactfully, and effectively, we can have a really good society coming forward.
Do you think that the people who are creating this AI technology, right, they are instituting safety parameters within the language, within the code?
So Sam Altman, who's the CEO of ChatGPT, did say they're taking this super carefully because he understands himself, right? He's the developer of this. Like, I think AI was valued at, I think ChatGPT was valued at maybe like 20 billion or something like that within like a month, which is crazy.
Absolutely insane.
Oh, also, I want to throw in the statistic real quick, right? It took ChatGPT 5 days to reach 1 million users.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, it took like Netflix 2 years, Instagram 4 years, something like that, right? It took all these big platforms you know and love today years and months to get. It took ChatGPT 5 days. That's a Monday through Friday, right? So all of those days while you were at school or you were at work, this platform was gaining 250,000, however the math is, I'm not going to math, but it was gaining all those users day to day.
About 200,000.
Yeah, something like that. And it's still growing, right? And not only is it growing, it's getting better. They just came out with ChatGPT 4 or 4.5 or something like that. But that is 100 times more powerful than ChatGPT 3, which is what a lot of us have used. And what I'm saying is AI is continually to level up. So you have to too. It's forcing you to play on its field. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind. It's going to put you in a world where it dominates you because it's advancing at such a higher rate than you that you can't compete with it. There's literally no competing with something it doesn't get tired, it doesn't stop researching, it doesn't stop collecting data, and all of a sudden you're competing against a super bot, and you complain because you're wasting time on social media doing the wrong things. You have to literally take this by the neck and you literally step on it before it grows and just punches you in the face, right? That's the point I'm trying to get at.
Wow. You know, it would be really, really cool to have Lex Friedman, like, just to talk to us about AI, because he's coding it and stuff. He's doing the language codes and he knows all like the really cool things about it. It would be absolutely amazing to have an expert about AI come talk to us about it and inform us even more, because it's like AI is taking the world by storm.
It is.
I guess you can say, you know, students are using it for their advantage, but they're not using it effectively.
They're not. It comes down to the point. Remember, you get out what you put in, and so a lot of people, based on the mindset that they've had due to their past interactions with other social media platforms, they use it recreationally, but they don't understand that they're only focusing on this tiny margin of what AI is capable of. When there's this whole field that they're not even tapping into because they're not used to that. They're not used to looking through that lens. They probably don't see, how can I use this to my advantage? A lot of people probably use it to cheat on their homework or something like that. All right, and AI is capable of doing that. As of right now, it's not the best for writing, right? But it's good at math, it's good at science and all that. But give it some time, and I guarantee you, school is probably going to be null and void, just due to the fact that AI is so immensely better at any school system in teaching you what you need to know and properly preparing you, because it's gathering all this information. It's literally using the internet to teach you. Can you imagine going to class every day and being taught by Google? Literally, like, that's kind of a weird way to put it, right? But that's essentially what it is, because the information it has is what's online, and what's online is some credible stuff, right? So you look at it from a perspective on, you're being taught by the most qualified professionals in real time, and you're getting that information, and it's spewing it to you in a way where that you really grasp it, and you trap it in your mind because you've never seen it this way. And once you've seen something a new way, your mind automatically just tends to hold on to it for a little bit longer, because it's something new, it's something cool, it's something it's something revolutionary, right? And that's the good thing about it. But again, there's a downside to it too, so you have to be careful with it.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding, and I want to get your 2 cents on this, is that AI kind of mimics human behavior.
It does, and that's really scary. You've seen it. I've seen some like ads online, right? With its humanoid chatbot. I know Snapchat just came out with their My AI or something like that. That's pretty kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie, but it's the early stages of chatbots are already here, right? I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. One of my favorite movies. Right, people hate on me for it, but it's called Ready Player One.
It's a good movie.
I love the movie so much, right? One of my favorite movies, top 3.
Spielberg, shout out to him.
It is. But there is so much, like, again, that's like a lot of metaverse things and all that. Completely different video. Talk for hours about that. But there's so much computer integration in that. And in the first half of the movie, right, they're using screens and like computers, and they're zooming out. All of that is done with technology. Like, technology and AI and computers is going to completely change the world for the better if used in a good way. And I pray that it goes in a good way, but I know the reality behind it. And that's why it's super scary looking forward, because the clouds are dark, but the rainbow's there, but they're covered by clouds.
Well, I would say that it's already happening in China in 2017 in Shenzhen. Right, they already had facial recognition.
They do
on all of their citizens.
So
2017, that's 6 years ago. So what does China look like now?
China is a emerging world power. You've seen it. Well, they're not showing this to you online, but again, China.
How are they emerging? How are they world power?
So again, this is gonna kind of going off track a little bit. I promise we'll go back on topic, but just for a little background information, U.S. dollar, BRICS, U.S. dollar versus Chinese yuan. Right, the yuan is currently being favored by a lot of these these countries, and again, a lot of these countries are abandoning the dollar. The dollar is losing value. The yuan's gaining value. Yuan is looking for the next world reserve currency spot. Right, that's essentially the main base of it. So China, the country that has the world reserve currency, is most likely the country that's going to have the most power. Right, so with China in that position, they have all this technology. They have all this information. They have all China. I saw a stat, right? It was China supply. I think it was China is they're leading the U.S. in like 32 out of like 42 technology apps, right? Or something along that line.
Wow.
But essentially, China is dominating the U.S. market, and we don't even realize it. But a lot of these developers behind your favorite apps, they come from China. They come from overseas. And the information that you put into it is the same information they're collecting, and they're storing it in a data log. What they're going to use with that data log is unknown to me, right? I can only assume that they're going to use it to their advantage. It is what it is, right? But the damage has not been severely done yet. Again, you gave them the keys to your castle, but that doesn't mean that you can't still put some guards up, right? Stop the force from coming through, you know. What is it called?
The door, the big door.
The flipping thing up, right? You know, put your moat down, all right? Although they have access to you, they know you from all perspectives, right? You can still fend yourself off in a couple of ways, but it has to start now. Otherwise, I promise you, you're going to live in a reality that's just pure illusion.